Okay, we're rolling.
Hey, welcome back to the How to Podcast series. It's Dave. Hope you're doing well. I want to talk to you about something that could possibly happen to you as a podcaster over time. Is you're wrestling with the idea of being confident, and maybe what could happen is you become a little arrogant as a podcaster. What I'm noticing for some of the long-term podcasters, old school podcasters, is they become a little grumpy, a little full of themselves, maybe. And that's kind of the nature of podcasting, and it's sad because it can happen. When we create content, we share opinions, we share our point of view, we get on the mic and we pontificate, there's a word for you, and we share our thoughts and everything. And after a while, our balloon gets a little bigger. People reach out to you, wow, I love your show. Balloon gets a little bigger. Wow, it's the best show ever. Balloon gets a little bigger. Did you hear about Dave's How to Podcast series? It's the best show ever. Balloon gets a little bigger. And over a while, if we don't maintain this, we become a little overinflated. Our egos get a little overinflated. Our opinion of ourselves goes from imposter syndrome to we're the best thing ever type syndrome, which nobody talks about until today. And I think that we need to understand the difference between confidence and arrogance. I did an episode like this on Dad Space, talked about it from a dad's point of view. But as I'm recording that, I'm thinking, we should talk about that here on the How to Podcast series as well, because I think as podcasters, we can fall into a trap where we can get a little bit bigger than our shoe size. How about that? Where we think highly of ourselves and we, in turn, push people away. And the key things to think about when we compare confidence and arrogance is confidence brings people to you and makes them feel safe. Arrogance pushes people away from you and they feel small. So we're going to talk about that here on the show and challenge you if you're leaning a little arrogant in your podcast and how you show up, how you treat your audience, how you get on the mic. If your balloon's getting a little bit too big, it might be time to let some of that air out before something pops. And I'm glad you're here. So here we go. Arrogance and confidence on the How to Podcast series. So a simple way to put this into context for us as podcasters is confidence could be simply framed this way. As a podcaster, I have valuable insights and skills to share with my listeners. That's confidence. I know there's value in my content. I know I put a lot of work into this, and I've developed my skills over a period of time. I have something to offer my audience. That's confidence. And that makes people go, I want to listen to this show. You're not like, well, I might be smart about this. I might know. I'm not the smartest person. That's not confidence. Confidence is saying, I've done my research. I've done my work, and I'm putting in the reps every episode to get better. That's confidence. That's a good thing. Where arrogance is kind of the opposite. Arrogance is my voice and knowledge are more valuable and better than everyone else's. I'm the best ever. And you're going to hear arrogance in the amount of awards people flash in front of you. Well, I'm this and I'm that. I have this award and I'm here and I'm there. I have this many episodes. I have this many downloads. I'm this. I'm a speaker. I'm a thing. Look at me. Look at all my awards. Let me read off to you all of my awards while you sit patiently for the content to start. That can border on arrogance because it's about how much I know in comparison to how much you don't know. Do you see the tone there? You feel it? Listeners and collaborators feel encouraged and engaged around confidence, but listeners are shut down or they distance themselves from podcasters who are arrogant, who come off as knowing it all and being the best ever. So some clear definitions for us as podcasters. Confidence is grounded in a belief that your abilities as a host and a creator, that you're on a journey of growing. You have a realistic sense of your strengths and the things that you need to work on. There's room for you to grow. There's also a willingness to learn and receive feedback and collaboration from others. Very confident, but understanding that we don't know what we don't know. Arrogance is an inflated view of your importance as a podcaster. Inflated like a balloon. Stretched right to the max. You're exaggerating your expertise. Fudging your numbers. Like telling people you have more listens than you really do. Telling people you make more money than you really do. You need to be right all the time. You need to be the first and the last voice on every topic, every conversation. And you dismiss others' ideas or contributions because you want to be the dominant voice in the conversation. That's arrogance. When you have to comment on everyone's comment, when you have to tie it all up in a nice bow, and you have to frame it in your context, that can come off as arrogance. When you talk over people, they're trying to get their point out, but you won't let them finish. That's not confidence. That's a lack of confidence. That's arrogance. So it shows up in many ways as podcasters, and I'm encouraging you to check yourself before you wreck yourself, right? That we need to understand that maybe we, at times, not all the time maybe, but at times we can slide from confidence into arrogance. When we start believing that there's no room to improve, I don't need to edit. I'm perfect. Nobody's better than me. These are all warning signs that you've moved from a confident way of podcasting into an arrogant way of podcasting. And what's going to happen is your audience is going to pull back from arrogance. They're attracted to confidence, and they avoid arrogance. Stop making your people feel small through arrogance. It's time for your audience to come to you. Don't do things that push people away. How confidence and arrogance can impact your podcast. A confident podcaster listens actively to their guests. I can tell a confident podcaster as a host of a podcast interviewing somebody just by how they listen. Without all the ums and ahs and yeah, okay, yeah, me too, yeah, I like that too, that's me, oh yeah, oh, well, my story is, no. There's an episode of The Arrogant Dave, just a few episodes back, you'll see it on your phone. That's an example of an arrogant, unconfident podcaster who talks over their guests and distracts and annoys, detracts from the message of the guest. A confident podcaster listens actively to their guests. Also, a confident podcaster listens to their audience's feedback. They make thoughtful editorial choices. They own their mistakes. And they maintain respect and warmth that creates a welcoming and collaborative community. That's what a confident podcaster does. An arrogant podcaster dismisses anybody who doesn't agree with them. Any opinion that doesn't fit with their opinion, they dismiss it. That's terrible. That's horrible. They talk over their guests. They ignore their listeners' input, and they blame others for their problems. They mock opposing views. They make fun of other podcasters. A couple of people come to mind. They create shows where they mock other shows, and they just belittle people. That's an arrogant podcaster. They create tension. They love feeding off of throwing a hand grenade of a comment into a community and watching it explode and people attack. They love controversy because it gets some clicks. They cause so much chaos in their own communities that it becomes a spectacle. They create tension, and it causes people to tune out and to disengage from what they're doing. And their numbers start to go down. And then they start complaining. Where did everybody go? Well, it's you. You're the reason people are leaving. You went from being a confident podcaster to being an arrogant podcaster. Arrogance pushes people away. Your numbers will go down. It's a result. It's what happens when arrogance takes over your podcast. So a couple quick self-check questions for you as a podcaster. So here's a question for you. Ask yourself this. Look yourself in the mirror and say, am I trying to serve my audience, or am I trying to prove how smart I am? I'll say that again for the people in the back. Am I trying to serve my audience, or am I trying to prove how smart I am? Which one is it? It can't be both. At the same time, it can't. Confidence serves listeners, and arrogance tries to prove how great you are and how superior you are. So, are you trying to serve your audience, or are you trying to prove how smart you are? Confidence, arrogance. Which one is it? Another question. Can I still respect someone who disagrees with me or points out my flaws? Confidence welcomes constructive disagreement. Constructive disagreement. Arrogance cannot handle any form of critique. Can I respect someone who disagrees with me or points out my flaws? And that other question, am I trying to serve my audience, or am I out to prove how smart I am? Some everyday podcasting examples for you, just to give some clarity, some practical thoughts. Here's some examples. When interacting with your guests or your collaborators, fellow podcasters, a confident podcaster says, I trust my skills, but want to genuinely hear your perspective. An arrogant podcaster implies or states, I'm the host, so my way is the only way. When I listen to podcasts about podcasting, I hear a lot of arrogant podcasting coaches who say that they know what's right for you, and their way is the right way. This show, from day one, has been a collaborative community experience. Sure, I'm going to share my opinion. Sure, I'm going to share how I'm doing what I do. But every episode that we share opinions, we also just give a caveat saying, you can podcast however you want to podcast. That's the beauty of this. There should be no gatekeepers standing at the door saying you can podcast and you can't. You're doing it right and you're doing it wrong. That's not how podcasting works. So when you hear a podcasting guru say, here is my rule for X, here is my rule for Y, here is my rule for E, all these different things. And they're like, here are my rules. You're listening to the wrong person. I just got to tell you, because there's no rules. There's no one here to enforce the rules. They're guidelines, best practices. Maybe they've worked for that person, but they might not work for you. What we don't need is a bunch of parrots who just parrot at what everyone else says and then believe it like it's true. If you haven't lived it, you don't even know if it's going to work for your show. So stop parroting these gurus and their laws and their rules about podcasting, because there are none. You're listening to the wrong show if all they do is preach about all of the rules that you must follow to be a top 100 podcast. That's not how we do things. It's not how it's done. It's about giving you the alternatives and giving you the options to pick what works for you without blame and without arrogance. In responding to listener feedback, a confident podcaster listens and adapts when needed. Again, not everything that you get in feedback from an audience is going to be actually practical for your show. So you don't have to put everything in place that everybody says. Your show should be longer, shorter, faster, slower, more interviews, less interviews, whatever. You don't have to accept it all, but you need to be able to adapt when needed. And an arrogant podcaster doubles down on their opinions, ignores feedback, or refuses to even acknowledge their own mistakes. That's the difference between a confident and an arrogant podcaster. When promoting your podcast, a confident podcaster celebrates team efforts and takes responsibility for setbacks. An arrogant podcaster takes all the credit and blames others for the failures. Oh, that was my VA. They don't know what they're doing. Really? Arrogance and confidence. So how do you grow more confident, but not more arrogant as a podcaster? Grow your identity first. to be a more confident podcaster over being a more arrogant podcaster. Recognize that your worth as a content creator isn't tied only to your downloads, likes, or reviews. It's deeper than any of the performance metrics you're going to see when you're looking at your computer. We, as podcasters, as content creators, need to practice humility. And the word practice and humility are elements of things that mean you haven't got there yet. That's arrogance. Practice means you haven't completed yet. You go to practice to get better. You practice pitching, you practice hitting, you practice running, you practice guitar to get better. You're practicing. You understand that you're not there yet. And humility is the opposite of arrogance. Regularly admit when you don't know something or you made a mistake. This builds trust with your listeners and collaborators. It actually enhances your credibility when you own your own mistakes and you build in public. Use your strengths to lift others. Whenever you feel powerful, like things are going really well for your show, whether in your knowledge about your content, your skills, you're getting better at podcasting, or your platform is growing, ask, how can I use this to support and amplify others rather than dominate the conversation? You really get better at podcasting. You start thinking you're the best thing in the world. Then you get out there and start telling people you are. And that's a slippery slope. I think this approach to confidence over arrogance really helps podcasters to cultivate a more authentic confidence for building a loyal audience and a strong base for collaborations within your community while avoiding the alienating effects of arrogance in how you do your content creation. Remember, confidence brings people to you. Arrogance pushes people away. And as I listen to these other podcasts about podcasting, I'm sad because it seems like they won't accept that they are on a learning trajectory and they just feel like they've crossed the finish line and you must worship them now. Because look at me. I've been podcasting for X number of years and I've got 35 awards. Great for you. What have you learned recently? I don't see them practicing humility. I see them flaunting their arrogance. And that makes me not want to listen to their show. So I hope if you listen to those shows and you're like, I'm looking for something better, I hope you enjoy this show. Because we're trying to do more of the confidence and less of the arrogance. And if you hear me being arrogant on this podcast, I want you to call me out. Send me a message. Let me know. Because I do not want to go down that path. And I'm asking you to hold me accountable. I'm here for you, and I want to build this community together with you. Confidence over arrogance. Which one are you? Go ask yourself. And I'm curious to hear the response. Thanks for listening to the How to Podcast series. We'll talk again soon. Hey, thanks for being here. Thank you for listening to the end of the podcast. You're here with me. I'm so grateful. I want to put something in front of you. For the person that's listened this far, you're my new best friend. So what I'm trying to do every month is I have a goal, and you can help me with this goal. Very simple. What I'm trying to do is have 5 conversations this month with listeners of the How to Podcast series. You don't have to have a podcast to respond. This can be the first time ever that we're going to have a conversation, but I'm looking to talk to 5 people. Now, you're still here, so you're one of the people that I would love to talk to next. So on my howtopodcast.ca website is a calendar, and I'd love to have you respond on howtopodcast.ca. Just click the calendar link, set up time in my calendar, and in the comment section for the meeting, just put something like listener. That's it. If you have a show, put it in the comments too so I can go listen. But if you don't, I just want to talk to 5 listeners every month from now to the end of the month. So if you're listening to me right now, you're the person I want to talk to. And through howtopodcast.ca, you and I can get together, chat about the show, chat about your journey as a podcaster. Where are you at? What do you need this show to become for you? What's missing? Your feedback. I just want to meet you. And as podcasters, I would encourage you to do something similar to this in your podcast so that you can meet and interact with your audience. So, howtopodcast.ca, I'm looking to talk to 5 people every month, and I would love for you to be one of them. Reach out. It's free. I'm not selling you anything. I just want to talk to you at howtopodcast.ca. Let's get in the calendar and chat. Thanks for listening. Hey, it's Dave. Yeah, I'm still here. Everyone else is gone. You're still here. So, hey, this is like a little bonus thing just for you because you stuck around to the end. Now, again, most people aren't even going to know that we've had this conversation. So, congratulations. You found the secret. You broke the secret code. You're here. I have a bonus thing, a question for you, a question that's come to me, and I want to answer it here at the end. This is bonus material. Again, it's not on any other episode. It's just for you and me. So here's the question. Somebody reached out and said, hey, Dave, do you realize that Threads now allows you to link your podcast? And it's actually been available for a while. You could link a website, which would be your website, which you have, right? So on my Threads for the How to Podcast series, I have always had my howtopodcast.ca website linked to my Threads. So technically, I've had people come to my show through Threads, and it works. But now you can actually have a clickable link to your podcast on the front page of your profile on Threads. So to do this, now this is now available in Canada, I believe the UK, I believe it was available in the US already. But to go to your Threads, if you have a Threads account, if you don't, then either create one or skip this. But go to your edit profile, and when you click edit profile, you can add your podcast right there. It has a little link, and you can just click on it. But what it asks for is you have to have a link to your Spotify podcast link to your show, an Apple link to your show, or an iHeartRadio link to your show, as I see it on my phone in Canada. Your phone might be different, and in the future, this might change. But right now, I have 3 choices, Apple, Spotify, or iHeartRadio. Now, I'm seeing people jumping on this, which is great, but it seems like the majority of people that I've seen do this have their Apple link. Now, as an Android person, that does me no good. I know I can listen to an Apple podcast, but an Apple link on an Android phone, not a great mix, not a great look. So I know that might be your favorite app to listen or use. You might be an Apple head, fine, but the rest of the world might not be. So I prefer to pick something a little more generic. Spotify is a lightning rod for some people. Some people like it. I use it all the time because I love music and podcasts in one place. I don't want to go to 2 different locations. But I'm not the majority either. So I went with iHeartRadio link. It's available to Spotify, to Android people, and it's available to Apple people. So I put my iHeartRadio link in there as well. So if you want to see my Threads, go find me through Instagram, How to Podcast Series, and then that'll lead you to my Threads. You can go right on Threads itself and just type in the How to Podcast Series. You'll see the black and yellow and the white and everything for my podcast show art there. And I'm not there a lot. I'm not a big social media person. I spend more time creating content than I do creating social media posts because for me, social media is a nice add-on, but it's only when I have it. Time is like what I have left in the margins is my social media presence. And I know that's maybe biting me a little bit, but I don't really care. So I shouldn't say I don't care. I do care, but I just don't find it a priority. I'd much rather create content than social media content. That's just my choice. You do you, boo. Okay. But for me, it's there. If you want to connect with me, I think I have 143 followers right now, 554 views in the last 30 days, which is exciting. And I do love interacting with people. You'll see I post here and there a lot of stuff about the Canadian Podcaster Online Magazine, clips and things. So if you're on Threads, I'd love to connect with you over there. I do care about people on Threads, just again to clarify. But yeah, you can add your podcast now. It'll show up at the top. So it'll say the name of your Threads account. It'll say edit profile, share profile. And then there's a link right there. Boom. where you can go right to your podcast. So I would encourage you to pick something not Apple, not Spotify, because it's very one or the other, and iHeartRadio kind of right down the middle. Your choice. Again, you do whatever you want. But for me, I would not just do Apple, and I would not just do Spotify, because they seem to be Android or Apple only. Middle of the road gives you both. My preference would be pod.link. That's a great way for people to find you on whatever app they choose. But for you Apple people, please stop putting just Apple links. Come on, you could do better. Again, add your podcast to your Threads account, now available as of recording on November 26th, 2025. The future is going to change, but right now, here's what I'm seeing. So add your podcast, might as well. It's one more way for people to connect with you. And I would strongly suggest not putting your Apple link. Just a saying as an Android person, but you do whatever you want. If you need any help, reach out anytime. Thanks for being here. Thanks for sticking around when everybody else left. We'll have more of these bonus questions and answers at the end of the episode. So now you know. Just don't tell anybody. Keep it our little secret. Thanks for being here. Take care.